Welcome to the Access portion of this class. We're going to do a project in Access, and this project is going to be completed as part, doing a couple of assignments. The first assignment, assignment 1, explains that your consulting firm has been hired by Callaway County Library to create a database system to record information about library card holders, books, and classes offered at the library. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a variety of different tables. And then once we've got the tables, we'll do some queries on the tables, and we'll create forms and reports. So it is sort of an extended project, and it's sort of like an actual consulting engagement. But you should have access to assignment 1, and you'll see that these are the tables that we're going to complete. And then we're going to set various options on them. We're going to populate the tables, and so that'll complete assignment 1. And then later in assignment 2, we'll do some queries and forms and reports. So that's where we're headed. The first thing that we want to do is we want to open our Access program. You'll find it in Windows, and I'm using Microsoft Office 2013, which is strongly recommended. It's recommended because many of the commands that I use will differ depending upon the version of Office that you're using. Let's name this Callaway County CO Library. And we'll create the database, and there's a blank database. And we're going to go ahead and just start following the assignment, create a variety of tables. The first table that we're going to create is going to be library information. It's not really related to the other tables, but it's just a placeholder to store the name of the library, the address, the city, state, zip code, and phone number. So let's go directly into Design View. You'll click Design View. It says Save Table As. You can, if you want to save it, you can click this little disk up here at the top. And if it is dirty, meaning that it's never been saved and it's changed since you saved it last, you'll get this prompt, either a save prompt or a save as prompt. We're going to name this first one Library Information. And then we're going to go into Design View and set up its design. Now, as far as tables go, there's several different views. There's 2 different views. There's the data sheet view and the design view. Data sheet view is where you actually look at the data. It's where you edit data, where you enter data. And so if we're wanting to edit data, enter data, or look at the data, we should be in data sheet view. If we want to modify the structure of the table, we should be in design view. And of course, every table should store characteristics or attributes of a particular entity class that is of interest to us, a particular type of person, place, or thing. And, of course, the fields store the attributes associated with that person, place, or thing. We're going to have as our primary key field. A primary key field is a field that identifies each record in the table uniquely. Of course, Access tables store information about an entity class in columns, and each column is an attribute of the entity class members, and each row is a unique member. All right, we've discussed that in class. We'll go ahead and we'll name the first field Library Name, as shown, and we're going to change that. We're going to make that a long text or memo field. If you're using an older version of Access, it will be called a memo field. In the newer version of Access, it's called long text. So long text or memo, depending upon which one you're using, that removed the primary key designation. So let's redesignate that as the primary key field. So we got library name, and we made it a primary key field. We'll set the properties for the field down below. You'll see that one property here is caption. And so we'll change the caption to library space name. Now let me explain the difference between a field name and a caption. A field name is what we'll use in any formulas or any queries when we're referencing the field. And it's best to not have any blank spaces in field names, although sometimes we do. A caption is what's displayed at the top of the column of the table or in a form or report heading or title. So, at the top of the column, we want a space in there, but for the field name, we don't want a space. And it is the primary key field. Remember, a primary key field identifies each record uniquely. In this particular case, we're only going to have one record. So let's add another field, called an address field. And we'll make this a short text field. Now, the difference between a long text field and a short text field is a long text field can be like 65,000 characters or something. You can store, pages or even, small chapters in a book in a long text or memo field. And really is stored outside the database in a separate file. It's done by a blob. We won't, blob is binary, a long object pointer. We won't get into the detail how it works. It's just, it's a long text item. And one advantage of having a long text item is that we can set it to, instead of just using plain text, we can set it to rich text, which you should do here. You should set this to rich text. What rich text does for you is it allows you to use different fonts and different colors and italics and that type of thing. Whereas with a short text standard file, you can't do that. You'll see that there's no option down there to change the format to rich text. So for the library name, we'll use rich text. For the address, we'll use regular text. And of course, it has to be a long text item or a memo item to do that. All right, so we've got address in there. Now we'll set city, state, zip. And normally we would keep city, state, and zip separate in separate columns. Because one of the rules of good table design is that each column should explain one and only one attribute of the entity class. And each column should be atomic. The reason that rule exists is to facilitate queries and that type of thing. In this particular case, we're going to take the liberty of violating that rule simply because this is just a placeholder for the name of the library and for its address and phone number, and we won't really be using this in queries. So we'll make certain that that's short text also. And what we didn't do is we didn't set the caption on the address field to street address, and we didn't change the size to 50. By default, a long text character, I hold like 65,535 characters. I think it is 534. And then a short text will only store 255 characters. But that's a lot of wasted space here. We only want addresses of about size 50. And city, state, and zip code, we'll change that to about a size of about 60 because we got a city, a state, and a zip code. And then we're going to add a phone number field. And we're going to make that a short text also. And on the phone number field, we're going to set that to size 14. A field should definitely be long enough to accommodate the longest data it's going to contain. But you don't want it to be 255 characters when the most we'll ever use is 14 because it's just wasted storage. Now, associated with the phone field, we're going to use an input mask. Input mask is a picture of what the data should look like, and it will require that the data entered be of the type indicated by the mask and appear in the format indicated by the mask. We'll invoke this wizard. You click on the input mask property and click on the little button with an ellipse in it. That invokes the wizard. It says you must save the table first. We'll say yes. And here's the wizard. And Access includes a lot of predefined masks for you. And so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We want the phone number mask, which is the one selected. So we'll make certain it's selected and then go next. And we'll accept the default sure. And we'll go next. And we'll store this without the symbols in the field. So next. And then we'll finish. And so this is what the mask looks like. We won't get into a lot of detail here. But the exclamation mark means field from right to left. The backslash is for means the next character is literal, and that's the open parentheses. And then we got 3 nines, and what those 3 nines say is the 3 nines say that you got to enter either a space or a digit, a numeric digit. And then we've got a closed parentheses in this place and closed in double quotes. That's a literal string, meaning that it will put a closed parentheses in the space in that position, in those positions, those 2 positions. And then we got 3 zeros. 3 zeros means that you have to enter a digit. Entry of a digit is mandatory. And then a backslash means the following character is a literal string, a hyphen, and then 4 digits, mandatory. And then don't worry about what's at the end. There's a semicolon, and following the semicolon, you can have an optional value that indicates to store the literal values in the field. By default, they're not stored in the field, so there's no value there. And then another semicolon and an underscore. That last underscore, and you can make that whatever character you want, that's a placeholder for the data that's being keyed in. It shows you where to key in data. All right, so we got that one pretty well set up the way we want it. Let's double check everything. Library name, long text or memo, and it's a primary key field, and it says library name. And then we've got address, and it's 50 characters short text, and it says street address. And then we got city, state, and zip code, and it's 60 characters. And then we've got phone number, and it's 14 characters, and we've got a default input mask associated with it. When we don't specify a caption, then the field name will be used as a caption. Okay, that's good. Let's save this object. And we have completed our first table. Now, the table doesn't have any data in it now. If you look, it doesn't have any data, but that's okay. We'll come back to it and put data in it later. Let's close that first table. Now let's create our second table. So we'll go create, and we're going to create a table in design view. I go directly to the design view. And this one's approved classes, and so we're going to have course name as the first object, and it's short text. Whoops, short text, that's what we want. That's already on there. All right, short text. And the caption is going to be course space name. And the size is 50. The variety of courses are offered at the library, and so we're going to hold information about them. And so that is the primary key field, so let's make that the primary key field. You might have to click here and then click primary key field. And then we're going to add a course description field. And because the course description can get very long, we're going to have it as long text, or remember that would be memo if you're using an older version. And let's go ahead and make that rich text. And so there, we're good. Rich text means that we can format it in a variety of different ways. And so we're done. Let's see, we got, well, now hold it, maybe we didn't set the caption for course description. Let's see the caption. That's given. All right, so let's double check. Always double check your data. Course name, it's short text, size 50. It's got course name. It's a primary key field. Course description, it's a long text. It's got course description. I've got a typo there. I'm notorious for typos. You all have to bear with me on those. All right, so let's save it. And we got our second table. And we're going to name it Approved Classes. All right, so we got our second table. Now, we're going to do our third table. Close this one. It doesn't have any data. The third table is class session. So we'll go into design view for tables. And we're going to have a session field, which we'll have that as an auto number field. Auto number field is a field that is managed for you automatically by Access. It really is a long integer field, but what happens is every time you add a new record at the bottom of the table, we'll see how you add data in a minute, but every time you add a new record, it's assigned a unique number automatically so that your primary key field does identify each record uniquely automatically for you. So session auto number key field, which is of course a long integer field, it increments it automatically, and it is a primary key field. And then we're going to have BEG date. That's the beginning date, and that's going to be date time. So we want to select the date time option for that. And then in terms of properties, we want to set a format on that field of a short date. You can see that there's a variety of different formats. There's a long date, general date. We want short date format. And then for the caption, we're going to call this beginning date with a space. Okay. And then we've got an ending date, END date, and that too is date time. And we're going to format that too as the short date. And the caption is going to be ending space date. All right. Let's make certain we got everything correct on the sessions. First of all, we have sessions, which is an auto number field. It is the primary key field. And then we have beg date, which has a caption beginning date, and it is a date time field and a short date. And then we have end date, and end date is the ending date for the term. It is a date time field, and it is a short date. Okay, that's good. So let's save this table, and we're going to name this table class sessions. when we open a new session, it will be added to this table. We can have multiple sessions, within a year. Okay, class sessions. Now we're going to open a table, create a table for building. So we'll create a table in design view, and we're going to have building ID as the first field, and that's going to be a number field. So we want that to be a number field. And there's a variety of different types of number fields. You can see from the drop-down list. A byte's 8 bits. It can store values from 0 to 255. Integer stores positive and negative values from 32,000 and something down to negative 32,000 and something. Long integer stores long whole numbers, 2 million and something. All right. You don't need to remember the exact amount. And we've got single precision, which stores floating point numbers with minimum, fair precision. You've got double precision, which is twice as precise as single precision, usually about 8 bytes or something. And then you've got replication ID, which is used with replicating databases. We won't talk about that. And decimal for storing very large floating point numbers. By default, a number field is a long integer field, and that's what we want for this case. No, we want byte. We want byte. The reason we want byte is they'll only have a few buildings, and of course we expect that it will always be below 255 buildings. And so that is a primary key field. And we want a caption of building, capital B, space ID, capital I, capital D. All right, so we've got the building field. Now we're going to add a building ID field. Now we're going to add the building name field. We'll just call it building, and it's short text. And we're going to format it of size 50. And we'll just accept the caption on it. And then we've got an address field. And the address field, we're going to make short text also. And we're going to make it a size 50. And we're going to use the caption there, street address. That's what it is, street address. And then we'll use city. And that too is short text, and we'll allow that to be up to 50. Some pretty long cities. And then state. And state short text, but this time we're only going to allow that to be, we're going to use abbreviations, so we'll allow that to be only 2 characters in length. And then we've got zip code. We're going to call it zip. And that'll be zip code. Let's make that 11. And we're going to have a caption of zip space code. Oops, capital C. And we're going to use an input mask for a zip code because it's got a standardized format. So we'll save the table, and we're going to name it building. And we're going to select the zip code mask. And next, we'll accept the default here and finish. Okay, so you can see the mask associated with a zip code. All right, let's double check it. We got building ID, which is a byte field, a short number field, a byte field. And then we got building name, which is short text to size 50. And then we got address, which is size 50, and then a caption of street address. And then we got city, 50, and state, 2, and zip, which is zip code, and that is short text size 11 with a mask. Okay, so let's save the building data, and we've completed the building 1. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the building file, and now let's create a location file. Our location table. So we'll go in table and design view, and it's got meeting room as the primary key field, and that's short text, and that's size 6 with a caption meeting room. Whoops. And of course that is the PK, primary key field. And then we're at building. And building is a number field, and of course it's a byte. You know, that's what we had it before in the building file, and we're going to pick up that from there. All right, meeting room and building. Okay, and let's see, make certain we got those. Short text, size 6, meeting room. Okay, top. And then building is byte and byte. Okay, all right, so that's good. So let's save that, and that's location. And we'll close that file, and we'll create our instructor file. And we're going to have instructor ID. And that is a auto number field, which of course is a long integer field. And the caption is instructor space ID. And that is the PK. All right, and we're going to add the first name. And that is short text, and that is size 50 with a caption of first name. And then we're going to add the initial, and that it too is short text, and that's just 1 character, so we'll make that a size 1. And we're going to add the caption middle initial, and then we've got last name, and that too is short text. We're going to make that last name size 50, and the caption is last space name. Okay, and then address, and that too is short text. That's size 60, and the caption there is going to be street address, and then the city. That too is short text. We'll make city size 50, and then the state, short text, size 2, and then the zip, and that's short text, and let's see, we got that size 10, and we're going to have a caption of zip code, and we'll do an input mask for that. So let's see, let's click on the field, save the table, and we're going to name it instructor. And we will select the zip code mask and finish. Okay. And then we've got a phone number field. And that too is short text, and we're going to make that a size 14. And we're going to invoke an input mask on that. Whoops, save the table. And we're going to select the phone number field. Accept the default, finish. And then the last one is email. We're going to make that short text, and we'll make that size 60. I have some pretty long emails, and one problem I have is this: these fields are often not big enough. So, instructor ID, primary key field, instructor space ID, auto number field, first name, short text, size 50, first name, initial, size 1, middle space initial, and last name, short text, 50, last period name, address, size 60, street address, and then city is 50, and then state is 2, and then zip code is 10. Got an input mask and a zip space code. It's a zip is the name of the field, and then phone number, got an input mask on that, size 14, and email size 16. Okay, so let's save it and then close our instructor field. Now we're going to create a class table. So we're going to design, and we're going to have class ID, and that's an auto number field. And that is, of course, the caption class space ID, and that is the PK. So we'll make that the PK. All right, primary key. And then course name, and that is a short text field. And we'll leave that 255 because it's going to be a lookup. And the caption is course name. No, I didn't capitalize the C in that. Okay, course space name. And then we're going to have a session field. And that's going to be a number. And we're going to make that a long integer. And we're going to put a caption of beginning date to that. We're going to identify the sessions by their beginning date. And then we got a time field, and we're going to make that a date time. And then the short format, we're going to make that a medium date. Or medium time, medium time. And then we've got instructor, and we're going to make that a number, and that's going to be a long integer, and that's going to be a lookup field. We'll do the lookup fields a little later. And then we're going to do location, and that's going to be short text, and that too is a lookup field, so we'll just leave that 255. So let's see what we got. We got class ID, auto number field, and we've got course ID. I need to change that. Course ID as the caption, and then course name, we got course name, 255, that's going to be a lookup. And session, we've got that's a number, that's a long integer, and we got beginning date, and that's going to be a lookup. And then time, we got date time, and that's a medium time field. And instructor, we got a long integer, number long integer, and that's a lookup too. And then we got location, and that's short text, and that's going to be a lookup from building. All right, so let's save then our class. And we're going to name it class. And all right, we got it. One more to go on enrollment. And we're going to create another table. And we're going to do it in design view. Go into design view. And we're going to name it enrollment. Okay. And then we're going to have, in enrollment, we're going to have student as and that's going to be a number field. And that's going to be a long integer. And that's going to be a lookup field. And then we'll have class. And that's going to be also a number field. And that 2 will be a long integer, and that 2 is the primary key field. So we're going to have 2 primary key fields. You have to select both of them, and then hit primary key. So we got a compound primary key field. A compound primary key field is used to represent many-to-many relationships. We'll learn more about that a little later on. So we got student, and we got class, and then we got grade. And grade, we'll make that short text, and we'll make that size 2. Although 1 is enough, we'll allow for A-, A+, and that type of thing. All right, so we've got a compound primary key field. We've got 2 fields here that are going to be lookup fields a little later on. And we're saving that, and that's named enrollment. Okay, so that's all of our tables that we're creating as part of the first step. All right, let's go ahead and close that file out, and we're going to create another file with this structure and then import data into it. So we're going to create a table in design view, and we're going to have a field called card number, and that's going to be an auto number field. And then we're going to have a card number, and that's going to be the PK, primary key field. And the caption is going to be card number, and that's an auto number. Okay, and then we're going to have a first name field, and that's going to be short text, and we're going to make that size 50. And we're going to name that, have a caption, first name. And then we're going to have a middle initial field. And that's going to be text, short text, and that's going to be size 1. And caption is going to be middle initial with a space. And then we're going to have a last name field. And that's going to be short text, and that's going to be size 50. And it's going to have the caption, last name. And then we're going to have a address field, and that's going to be short text, size 50. And it's going to say address, street address. And then we're going to have a city, and that's short text, size 50. And then we're going to have a state, short text, size 2. And we're going to have a zip, and that's short text, and that's going to be size 10. And we're going to invoke a mask. And we're going to say the table as library card holder. And we're going to invoke a mask for the zip code. And And we're going to finish. Okay, and we'll save this table. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get external data. All right, and we're going to pick up an Excel file I've downloaded the Excel files with assignment 1 onto my desktop. If you haven't already done that, then go ahead and do that. You can pause now and do that. But what we're going to do after you downloaded it is we're going to pick up from our desktop. I'm going to pick up, first of all, the library holder file. And we're going to append that to our library holder file that we just created. And we'll say OK. And it says it already knows that the first row contains headings. So it'll go next. And it's wanting to put that in library card holder. So we'll go finish. And we'll go close. We don't want to save the import steps. Okay, if everything worked all right, we'll look at our library card holder file, and we got all kinds of data in it. We didn't have to key that in, so there's a big savings of time. Let's double click on the right hand edge of all of these field names in data sheet view to resize them to an optimal size for us. And let's save it, and then go into design view. Click on home and go into design view and just make certain we're okay. Auto number 50, first name, 1 middle initial, last name 50, street address 50, city 50, state 2, and zip with a mask. Okay, looks good. So you can see we saved a tremendous amount of keying. No use keying all that in again. So let's close that. We got all the data in that library card holder file, and we're ready to go with it. Now let's go ahead and import another file. We'll go external data, Excel, and we'll browse, and we'll pick up this books XLS. And we're just going to open that, and we're going to put that in a new table. And we'll go OK, and the first row does contain column headings. It didn't figure that out, so we got to select it. And we want to use, let's see, number as our field name. We'll change the name of that a little later. But let's change that to a long integer. And then title is short text, and author is short text, and category is short text. So that looks good, so let's finish it. Let's choose our own primary key field, and we want to choose number, and then finish, and then close. All right, so we got a new one. It's named Sheet 1. Let's rename that. Let's rename that to Books. And then let's go ahead and open it up, open up our Books one, and go into design view. You'll see that we've got book numbers, titles, authors, and categories. Click home and go into design view. And that first field, we'll change the name to book number. Whoops. Book number. And it's a number field, and it's a long integer. And for the caption, we'll say book space number. And then we've got title, and let's make title size 60. And then let's go to author and make author size 60. And then let's go to category and make category size 40. Okay, looks good. Book number's long integer, title size 60, author size 60, and they're all short text and size 40. Okay. And of course, book numbers are primary key field, so we'll save these results. Ignore that some data may be lost, and we'll go into All right, there it is. And let's optimize the size of those. Clicking on the right-hand side. And it optimizes it based upon what's displayed. There could be something down here that's a little bigger like this one. It's not displayed, so we might want to just scroll down and make certain that we got it big enough for everything. There's one that's bigger. It had to be too big, but all right, that looks pretty good. Let's stop there. Anyhow, and let's here. Let's change the category here. This one's a little bigger, and go on down. Our science fiction. That one's bigger. Science fiction and fantasy. All right, looks like that's good enough. All right, let's go ahead and save it. And so we've got our books file. Now let's import one more. We'll go external data, and it's an Excel file too. And we'll browse and pick it up, and it's called checked out. And we'll open it, and we'll put it in a new file. And we'll click OK, and we want checked out, and next, and first row contains column headings, so next, let's see, checked out, we want that to be long integer. Let's change that to long integer. And book number, we want that to be long integer. That's my phone, just ignore it. And card number, we want that to be long integer. And out date with time, let's make that short date. Date with time is fine. And end date with time. Okay, and next, and then finish. No, we want to choose our own primary key field, and we want checked out as our primary key field. Now, next, and now finish. Okay, and so close, and so there we've got checked out, and so we got our data there, book number, card number, and out date and end date. We're going to modify those so that they're lookup. Some of these are lookup tables. So let's go into design view and make certain that checked out is number and it's long integer, and we want the caption check out number, and then book number, we want that to be number and long integer. We want the caption book number, and let's say card number, we want that to be long integer, and we want the caption card holder number. And then out date, we want that to be a date, and we'll change that to a short date. And then the end date, we want that to be a date, and we'll change that to a short date. Okay, and so save it. Go back to design view. We'll want to expand a couple of these to make them big enough so that they display the headings. And it looks good, so let's save it. Now we've got our books table and our checked out. We got our checked out table. So that completes step 2 of the assignment. Okay, what we want to do now in step 3 is to populate the tables. So let's open up the approved classes, and we'll open that up in data sheet view, and you're just going to key in the data for approved classes like it indicates on the assignment sheet. So I'll key in one, and then I'll let you key in the rest. Best sellers reading club. And don't forget, we can double click on this right-hand margin there, to right-hand margin, to make that bigger. And then a seminar based on the top 100 books on the bestseller list. Okay, and so we can double click that. And all right, now go ahead. You know how to key in the data. You just add data down at the bottom. Go ahead and key in the rest of the data for approved classes. And I'll pause now, and once you have done that, then we'll resume. Okay, you should have keyed in all the data for approved classes. And of course, once you move off of a record, when you're keying in data, it saves the data automatically. So you don't have to really save it as you go along. You'll notice that I've also double clicked on that right-hand corner in order to make those larger. The next one, we want to save the changes because we're saving the structure. The next one is the building. And so we'll open up the building and we'll key in the data for it. I'll help you with the first one, and then main, and then tab, and it's 1350 Main Street. And then the city is Murray, and then the state is Kentucky, and then the zip code is 42055-033. And so, you know, I'll expand these. And let me go ahead and show you a little something on this one. The next one is number 2, and it's Canterbury, Canterbury, and then the address is 222, and the address is 222 Oxford Drive. And what I wanted to show you is if you hold down your control key and press ditto, it will copy the data from the record above. And so if you're like me and you make a lot of typing errors, that'll save you some time. And the last one is Spring Creek, and that's at 323 Route RT 641 South, and that's Murray Control Equal, Kentucky, and that's the same zip code. Okay, there is a problem with that last zip code. That should be, that last digit should be a 2. And Access saves the data as soon as you move off the field. So it will save that automatically, but let's go ahead and save it anyhow and close it. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to input information into the library information table. And let me go ahead and do that. I'll pause just a second and do that, and then I'll get back to you. Okay. This is what your library information table should look like. You'll remember that in the first field, we made that a text field, and we made it a long text field. And as a long text field, we used rich text as a property. And so what I did is I changed that to Lucida Calligraphy to make it look a little fancy there. And I put the color on it blue, dark blue, so you can go ahead and do that as a standard color. All right. And then I put the address in, the city, state, and zip code, and the phone number. Go ahead and enter that data, and then save your library information or close your library information. Okay. Next thing we need to do is the class session table. I'll go ahead and enter the data in it, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, the class section table should look like this. You'll note that for session 1, we have a beginning date of January 20th, 2014, ending date of March 21st, 2014. And for session 2, beginning date of 4/21/2014, ending date of 6/20/2014. Okay, good. Close that table out once you have entered the data. And what we'll do now is we'll do the instructor table. So give me a minute, I'll enter the data in it, and I'll let you. Okay, I've entered the data in the instructors table, as you can see. Key this in the table on your own. Make certain that you don't have any typos here. And so I'm terrible with typos. Go ahead and key that in, and then go ahead and close that table out. So let's open up the location table in Design View. And we're going to make this meeting room a lookup table, or a lookup field. And so we're going to look up meeting room. And next, and we'll want it to come from the building. So we're going to get it from building. There's a drop down list. And we're going to have building ID and building. And then next, and ascending order by building. And then next and finish. So, all right, and so save it. And so now let's see, we can select the building. Let's put in the meeting rooms, key those in, CB 101, and that would be building Canterbury. And you can go ahead and key all those in. I'll pause it while you're keying those in. All right, you should have all that data keyed into location, and make certain you save any changes to the structure you made. I did expand the building so that it's big enough to display the data, and so we'll close that. All right, let's go back to the class table. You'll see that I have already entered some data excuse me, in the class table. You can enter this data if you want. If this course field is an auto number field, so make certain that you don't enter any data into the course ID field. But you can enter this course name, beginning date, time, instructor location data in, just as I have it here. You can pause the video and do that now if you want to. It's not necessary, but if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Pause now. Okay, you should have the table looking exactly like this if you want it. Let's go ahead and go into the design view. And really on the class table, we do want the class ID to be a number, but we want the class name to be a lookup value. So let's change that to lookup wizard. And we're going to look that up then from class, let's say from class sessions. Nope. Back from approved classes. There we go. And then we want course name, and next. And of course we're going to sort by course name, and then next, and then next, and then finish. All right, and so now course name, you know, there's no compatibility problem since we typed it right, but we can select that from the list. All right, now we've got the beginning date. We're going to look that up from sessions, so we want that to be a lookup wizard, and we're going to pick that out of class sessions, and in there we want session and we want beginning date. We're going to identify the session by the beginning date, so we'll put beginning date, and we're going to sort by beginning date, ascending, and then finish, and then next, and then finish. Now we should be able to pick up our session there. Let's look in data sheet view, It should have a date, and we can pick it up by date. All right, time we just key in here. Now instructor, let's go to instructor. We want to make instructor a drop-down list. So let's go make that a drop-down list. And we want to pick up a value, and we're going to pick it up from the instructor table. Whoops. Next, and we want the instructor first name. We want, let's include first name, middle initial, and last name in there. No, let's change that. Let's include last name in there only. And we'll assume that we can identify instructors by last name. We can also include, let's include first name too. Last name and first name. Next. And we're going to sort by last name. And then next. And then next. And finish. Okay, and now we should be able to get instructor, last name, and there's the last name and first name. Of course, it only puts the last name in the field, but that's all right. You know, I got to put, it doesn't put Gregory Webb, it just puts Webb in there. All right. Now, let's go ahead and do location. We're going to make location a lookup field, and we're going to look it up from let's see, location, yeah, location, and next, and then meeting room and building, and next, and we're going to sort by meeting room, and next, and no, we don't want to hide the key column there, and we want the bound field to be field number 1, and finish. And let's see how location works. That is working okay. In fact, there's not much information provided by this building. Let's go back and let's change that location so that column count is 1. Let's take that second column out there and then make the width of that 1 inch. And then the overall width would be, of course, 1 inch. All right, now let's save it. And now look at it and see what we got. That looks better, I think. Yeah, that's better. So we can pick our location from the drop-down list now. You know, you can change it to whatever you want there. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and go to the enrollment file. And what we want to do is we want to go in design view. And we're going to change that student from a number to a drop-down list. And so let's go to Lookup Wizard. It'll look up the value from another table. There's 2 different types of lookups. There's a lookup table query, which looks up a value from another table or query. And there's a lookup list. In a lookup list, you specify the values that you want in different rows. It's really easy to do. You might want to play with it a little bit. But we're going to do a lookup table query, and we're going to look up the student name from the library card holders group. And we're going to add the card number, which will actually go in this file. We're going to add the first name, middle initial, and last name. And then we'll go next. And we're going to sort by, let's sort by last name. Well, let's don't sort at this point. Let's go next. And so hide the primary key field, and then we'll go next, and then we'll keep it in student. So let's finish it. And so it'll save it. And now let's go look at it. Now it gives you a drop-down list and indicates the student, but right now it just put the first name in there. That's not what we want. What we want to do is modify it a little bit. So let's go back in design view, And let's make certain we're on the student file, and then go over to lookup. You can see that it converted this field to a combo box, which is a drop-down list. And let's go ahead and hit the little ellipse button to invoke the query that is used to set this up. And we're going to change it a little bit in that we're not going to display first name, middle initial, or last name. Instead, what we're going to display is a new field that we'll call name. And we're going to make that field a concatenated field. So let me zoom in on this. And name is going to consist of the value from the last name field. We enclose field names in brackets when they're used in formulas such as this. Let me change the font size here to make this a little more readable for you. The last name field, and then we're going to add on to the end of the last name. That's called concatenation, when you put multiple fields together, and this is on the test, so you need to pay attention to how you put multiple fields together and include literal strings. A literal string is a text string that appears as is within a concatenated field. So we're going to add a literal string, and a literal string, the characters are enclosed in double quotes. We'll put a comma and a space after last name, and then we'll concatenate onto that the first name. So we'll go first name, and then we'll concatenate onto that blank space, just a double quote, a blank space, and a double quote. And then we'll concatenate onto that middle initial. You'll notice that the file names have to be exactly as they are. No typos are allowed. They have to be exactly as they are. And so you got to be real careful here. And we'll add on to that a period at the end. All right, so what that will give us is that will give us this new name file, and we'll check that, and of course we'll put that over next to card number. So what we want to do is we want to display last name. Let me zoom on this again. We want to display last name, a comma and a space, and then the first name, and then a space, and then the middle initial, and then a period. And we want to sort on that field. So let's go ahead and sort on that field. So that will put it in order by last name. Now let's save this. So we'll save this, and then we'll close it out. And so that changes our, the command to create that query. It's called SQL. And we don't study SQL in here. I'll show you how to do that stuff. It's not on the exam. But we'll save that, and let's go over now and look at it. It says you must save the table first. Say yes. Now when we click on student, you'll see that we have their last names, and we can pick out the student we want. One little problem with it, it's got 3 columns displayed. Let's go back and change that. We really want, as a column count, 2. The reason we want 2 is the card number, which is the primary key field, is going to be selected and put into this field in the table. And we're going to display the second one. So the bound field is field 1. The column count is 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the size 0 inches for the first column, and 2 inches, 2 double quote, for the second column, and the overall size, let's see, let's make that 3. 3 quote. Let's see how that looks. See, 3 inches. All right. So let's look and see how it looks. Now we do our drop down list. Oh, that's too big. Let's go back and make it 2. So let's make it 2 inches. 2, double quote, and make the list width, make that also 2 inches. Okay, and save it. And now we got it doing, I think, what we want. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we got it doing what we want. Let me pause. I got to take this phone call, so bear with me just a second. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we've got the student working the way we wanted, and you know, we can pick out whoever that is. And let's go ahead and now let's do the class. We'll go into the design view. And what we're going to do with class is we're going to make it a lookup too. So we'll invoke the lookup wizard. And so, class, we're going to make it a lookup. So we'll invoke the lookup wizard. And we want to pick up a value from another table. And we're going to pick up a value from the class table. And next. And then we want course ID and course name in the field. And so next. And we're going to sort by course name. And next. And hide the key column. And next. And finish. All right. And we'll save the data. Now let's go back and look at this in design view. The first student you can see is Larry W. Ashmore, so we'll go ahead and pick up Ashmore, Larry W., and we'll maximize the size. Oh, let's go ahead and get the let's go ahead and get the class, and the class is Chess Mastery, and we'll leave the grade blank. So you can see that it's just a matter of clicking in the field, selecting the drop-down list. The second one is Larry Ashmore too, and he's taken, in this time, personal finance. So you select the class for that. Leave grade blank. The grade column is for a grade assignment when the class is over. Now some of these you're probably going to have to expand a little bit as you go down the list. But go down the list and select all of the enrollment data. And I'll pause it again and let you do that, and we'll resume after you've... Okay, you should have entered all the data by now. And after you've entered it, you can see that I double-clicked on that right-hand edge to optimize the size. Now we've got a list of all the students that are taking classes and the classes that you're taking. And we don't have to save the data because it's saved automatically. We do have to save the view of the data since I changed the column widths. Look at where we're at. Approved classes is a core base table. We don't have any drop-down lists there. Books is a base table, no drop-down list there. Building is a base table, no drop-down list there. We might want to change the building ID share from 1 to... Okay, let me change Canterbury. Let me escape here. Let me change Canterbury. Change this back to 0 first of all. And change Canterbury to a 3. And Maine here to 2, and then Spring Creek's to a 1. All right, so that'll change them the way I want them. Okay, good. So I'm going to save that, and I say building ID is a number field. But okay, good. All right, and then checked out. Say building doesn't get any data from anywhere. Checked out. Well, it does. No, it doesn't get any data from anywhere. Checked out. It's book number and card holder. Let's change checked out session. Let's go ahead and edit this one and change book number there and make it a drop-down list, a lookup wizard. And next it will look up value from books, and we'll want book number, and we want title, and let's put title in the field. Let's go ahead and display author and category all. So, and we're going to go ascending by title, and I don't think we'll have any duplicate titles, but if we do, it will be author. Next, and hide the key, and next, and finish, and save it. And now let's close that building one, it's in the way. But let's look at checked out in design view, and you can see now that the drop down list, probably not big enough. Let's change that. Let's make the handmade about, let's make the handmade, let's make that about the title, let's make that about 2 inches, and let's make the author about 2 inches, and then let's make the category about 2 inches. All right, and then we'll change all that to 4 and just see how that looks. Oh, we don't have a comma separator here. And we'll make it about 4. Okay, now let's save that. Save. Now let's do our drop down list. We really don't have it big enough. The first one probably needs to be 3. So let's change that first one then. Instead of 2, let's make that 3. So 3 and 2 is 5, 7. So we need about 7 inches. And so, let's see what we got now. Let's save it. And that looks pretty good. So let's just leave it there. That's about right. And then let's go back in design view, and where it says card number, let's make that a lookup list. And we want to get a value from a different table. And so let's get a value from card number from library card holder. And we want card number, last name, first name, middle initial. And we'll ignore sorting for the time being. And we could go back and just sort by last name, and then by first name, and then by middle initial. Hopefully we don't have too many people that have the same name. And we can minimize that a little bit. That looks good. Now let's finish. So now, card holder, there. So let's save it. You'll notice that it's only displaying the last name here for the card holder, and we could have some card holders that have the same last name. So let's go back and modify that a little bit. Let's click on the row source and click on the little ellipse. And what we're going to do is we're not going to display first name, last name, or middle initial. In fact, we can delete those. Click on the little area there and delete those and take those out of there. But we are going to sort on them. But what we're going to do is we're going to add another one. We're going to add another file, and this is going to be, let me zoom so you can see it and change the font here at about a 14. Yeah, that's good. And we're going to call this one name, and we're going to make certain that it is last name. And then we're going to concatenate onto that a comma and a space. And then we're going to concatenate after the comma and space, we're going to put first name. And then we're going to concatenate. And it is possible some people could have the same first and last name, so we'll concatenate onto that the middle initial. And we'll want to, of course, put a period after that middle initial. Okay, so we're going to create a concatenated field named name. And really, that's the field that we want displayed. So let's put that after the card number. And then let's save it. And then close it. And now let's see what we got. Let's see how that works. Let's view it. And it says save the table. Yes. And now we're getting the full name in there. But I don't like, we got 3 columns and displayed, and we don't want 3 columns displayed. So let's go back here and let's change the column count to 2. You got to remember, we got to make an allowance for that that primary key field, and so we don't want to display the primary key field. But let's make the name, let's make that about 2.5 inches. Got to put the inches in there. And then we'll make the overall list width about 2.5 inches. All right, now let's see how let's save it and see how it looks. So that looks pretty good. And and we got the column, we got everybody's name in there. So all right, that looks pretty good. So let's save our results here and close the checked out table. We'll close it, and we should be completed now with steps 1, 2, and 3. And so that's all of the work that we need to do now for assignment 1. We'll pick up with the same assignment, the same files, the same set of files, all these tables for assignment 2. So make certain you keep a copy of your files to work with, and of course you would submit this in Canvas as assignment 1. Okay, that concludes assignment 1, and thank you very much.